All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's training webinar. We are going over how to maximize your lead flow with pay-per-click and Google Ads, formerly known as Google AdWords. Now they just shortened it to Google Ads. But excited to share some cool stuff with you. And let's jump in. So what we're going to talk about today and what you're going to discover is why pay-per-click is this key to unlimited scalability in the terms of lead flow for your business. So by unlimited scalability, I mean, you can scale it really as big as you want, only limited really by your budget, which is of course a big item in there. So we'll give you some examples of campaigns that are generating between 5 and 15 times ROI for other companies. I'm going to go through how to set it up and structure it so that you can really kind of, spend the least amount, but get the biggest bang for your buck as well. We're going to talk a little bit about KPIs, so key performance indicators, some tracking, what landing pages are important, your campaign structure, all of those things we're going to go through today. So first of all, as I start most of these training presentations, this is all just one piece of what's called the digital dominance method. And all of these different pieces have their place in the system and have their place in generating leads for businesses. So in this case, we're actually talking about number 2 up here, which is Google AdWords, Bing ads, and there are, a couple other pay-per-click, there's Pinterest ads, things like that. Today, we're really going to be focusing on Google. But Bing ads should also be in your mind as you're thinking about this stuff. And there are some definite advantages to being on Bing ads, cheaper prices, older skewing demographic, some other things as well. So anyway, all just part of the system we're going to go through. So today, I really just need your attention. Turn off your cell phone. Turn off Facebook unless you're watching it live on the Facebook stream. And if you're serious about doubling or tripling your leads, and the next 45 minutes or so are really going to be critical. And going to share a ton of information with you in this time. So please just pay attention the best you can. A little bit about me real quick. I am the author of Your Internet Marketing Plan for Window Treatment Companies. We are actually in the middle of updating that book and probably almost doubling its size. So excited for the next version of that book to be coming out early next year. I have over 22, almost 23 years teaching and doing digital marketing, been in it for a long time. I'm an active member of the WCAA. I've spoken at SEO and different digital marketing related events all across the country. And my business only works with window treatment and awning businesses on their digital marketing and lead generation campaigns. Here's a picture of me. My daughter works with me. Her name's Amber. This is us winning the Future 50 Award, which is for the 50 fastest growing businesses in St. Louis, which is where we're based, which is pretty exciting. We're a veteran owned, family run business for over 22 years. So at the end of the webinar training today, I'm going to give some free stuff out. If you want some free stuff, hang around for that. I'd love for you to get some of these different pieces and information that we have for you all for free. And if you have any questions in the middle of this presentation or along the way, go ahead and just type those into the chat and I will do my best to clarify anything you need, to review anything, to answer any questions, anything maybe I missed or didn't go over, but put those questions in there. As far as my business, we're called Window Treatment Marketing Pros. We are Google partners, certified Google partners in AdWords and analytics, and pretty excited to be able to work with companies around the country, specifically window treatment companies and awning companies with all of their digital marketing needs. So today we're going to be talking about pay-per-click and should pay-per-click be a part of your overall internet marketing strategy. I think if you looked at the digital dominance method, you probably already know the answer to this. And it is a piece of the pie. We're right after Thanksgiving. Pie's a big thing right now, right? We're trying to finish off all the pies in the fridge. But it's just one piece, one slice at a time. And you start to add in all of these other pieces, and you really do dominate your market and your industry and your location for anything related to your business and your products, your services. So yes, obviously the answer is yes. Pay-per-click should definitely be a part of your overall strategy. Oh, and there goes my computer. All right, here we go. So one of the really cool things about it is that you can start showing up quickly. If you build out a pay-per-click campaign and hit the go button, you're going to show up, within minutes, if not hours. They're very quick about getting those ads up. So whereas SEO is a long-term play, and it's definitely a very, very smart way to go with longevity in your business and generating leads over time. The nice thing about pay-per-click is you can start showing up quickly for terms that maybe you're not ranking for right away, so you can get that traffic for those different terms. You can show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. That's always great. You can show up for non-geo-modified terms, and by that we mean a geo-modified term would be Shutter's Memphis or Drapery's St. Louis, those kind of terms. So we're talking about terms that are not modified. So if somebody just goes to Google and types in Shutters or Drapery or awning repair, Roman shades, etc., you can show your ads up for those particular terms quick with pay-per-click. Whereas trying to rank for a term like Shutters in general is a pretty generic term. So you're probably not going to rank organically or in SEO for those kind of terms, but you will be able to show up within a specific area for those more generic terms, which is a huge benefit and advantage. As I mentioned earlier, unlimited scalability. It really just boils down to budget. And after you go through a lot of these things we'll talk about today, you'll see how you can start to measure certain things, and we talk about budget. But at the end of the day, if you can show that you're generating leads for $22 each, and your profit on that is $1,000, it really just comes down to every time I put $1 in, more comes out. How many dollars do I want to put in? How much work do we need? How much work do we want? That kind of stuff. So one of the biggest things about pay-per-click really is small business owners tend to have a bad thought or bad thoughts about pay-per-click, and that's typically because Google is fantastic at their marketing for their Google ads. They'll send you the coupon, and they send them to me all the time to hand out to my clients. Spend $50 and get $100 in free ads. And a lot of business owners will say, oh man, I need to do that. I need to get on the system. And they'll go out there and they'll create some ads, and they make it pretty easy to get through the system and create some ads. And you'll blow through that $150 and maybe more in a very short amount of time with maybe little to no results from it. So then, business owners will just say, well, it's just money going down the toilet. It doesn't really work. So let's talk about some reasons that these different campaigns fail. Failure to understand the auction process and the complexity of the industry. So this is a big one. I talked about when you first sign up, they make it very easy to just plug in a bunch of keywords, choose your area, and turn it on. But if you don't understand kind of how the auction process works and how ads are judged in their system, it's not always the person who's spending the most that will get the top position in Google Ads. It really comes down to how well the ad is performing, how well it's written, those kind of things. So lots of different pieces to that. A lot of business owners will also just set up one ad group for everything. So they'll just shove a ton of keywords in there, from treatments to repair to cleaning to all the different products and stuff. And really, we'll talk about this a little later, but you build different ad groups for each different thing. And what you can find out is, we're only making 10% margin on our blinds. And when we look at our numbers, our ROI or our KPIs for the blinds ad group, we see that we're not really generating any money. Our margins are so thin that by the time we spend money on ads, we go out and do all the work, we're breaking even or losing money. So those are the kind of things you would know if you had all these different ad groups set up, and then you could just turn off the blinds in that particular example, or we see that we're really making a lot of money in shutters. Our leads are coming in cheap. We're able to make some profit on it. Let's double that ad group budget and really go for it. The other thing is we don't use specific text ads or landing pages for our different groups of keywords. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but that is huge. Also, no strong call to action or offer on your landing page. Calls to actions are huge on your landing page. Not having those in place, somebody just comes, reads about your product, and they're like, oh, that's nice that they do that, but not having that obvious next step can really hurt you. So real quick, wrong landing page is your home page. The biggest reason for that, and this is by far one of the most common things that happens when a business owner puts their ads out there, is they just dump everybody to the home page. So if you're running an ad or an ad group on shutters, you shouldn't dump them to your home page and make that person go find your shutters page. You should dump them to your shutters page, right? And that makes a lot more sense. It makes more sense from a psychological standpoint that they clicked on an ad and, yep, this is what I was expecting to see. If they have to click on it and then go search, then they might just not do it. They might just hit the back button, but you still get charged for that particular ad, for running that ad. So, this is a big one, not dumping people to the right landing page. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I got a couple examples for you. So let's do a quick overview of how the Google Ads system kind of works. There's 4 different ad types. Search ads are the most common, and that's the one that everybody sees when they're doing a search in Google, and they see the ads at the top, they see the ads at the bottom. Used to have ads on the right column. They don't have those anymore. But these are by far the most common. There's also new ways to do this with service ads. There's also a way to do this in the map section, which is super powerful area. But these are all parts of search ads when somebody's searching for something, a specific keyword, and they see an ad that comes up related to that particular keyword. The second one is app ads. So app ads are obviously banner and text ads across apps, games, anything that you're using your phone or your tablet for typically, and some desktop as well. Desktops now have apps as well. But seeing those different ads on those different systems are all related to Google, and you can show your ads specifically to people playing a specific game or a specific thing in mobile, if that app is written in a way that it is generating revenue by showing ads. Video ads, this is a big one too. I think this is going to grow a lot this coming year. And these are ads on YouTube. So retargeting people who maybe came to your website, looked at it, didn't purchase, didn't fill out a form, but then they go to YouTube and watch the video, and you can have that little pre-roll spot or even the ads in the middle, short little ads. But video ads by far, I'm putting a lot of stock in those in the coming year. I think YouTube, YouTube is the #2 search engine for us, and of course it's owned by Google. So video ads are going to be big this year, and they already are. But being on that bandwagon is going to really grow some businesses hugely in this coming year. And then last is display ads. Display ads are ads that you've written in maybe in your search ads thing as you're doing it, but you can also turn on the audience network, or you can show ads on other websites. which is really nice. So if another website is maybe about home interior, and it's a blogger that blogs mostly just about home interior things, you can actually have your ads show up in their right-hand column or wherever they happen to be choosing to show ads. So you can actually get ads on other sites, obviously related to your industry, but pretty cool little thing to get ads out there. The people, like the interior designer example I used, that person would make a little bit of money if somebody were to click on that ad. So that's their incentive to show the ads in the first place. But display ads are a great way to waste a lot of money, but also a great way to get more eyeballs in other websites that are not necessarily Google properties. So I say that they're a great way to waste a lot of money because a lot of times, back to the failures, business owners will just turn on that audience network or that display ads by default. And if there's 1,000 websites out there wanting to show ads related to that, you can burn through your budget fairly quickly. So just gotta be a little bit careful about that kind of stuff. Custom audiences. Custom audiences is big on Facebook, and it's also something that is big on Google Ads now as well. So a couple different really cool things that you can do. You can target customers that you know. So if you have a list of customers that you've done business with, and maybe it's been a couple years, or you've got a new special or a new product or a new service, or if you're doing cleaning, this is something that you can show every 6 months or every year or whatever it happens to be. But you can upload a list of customers that you already know that have purchased from you or given their address or email or information about themselves in some way. You can upload that list and show ads specifically to those people. Very cool. You can also exclude current customers to only reach new customers. So really the same thing. You upload your list of customers and you say, show this ad to everybody except for these people, because these people have already seen it. So that's really cool way to go about it. And then you can also reach users that are similar to your current list of customers. So once again, you upload a list of customers. Google sees that they have all kinds of information on us, so they can look at these people, see what all these people have in common, and then build on Facebook what we call a lookalike audience. But they can build an audience of people that look like the people you uploaded, but are different people, but they kind of have the same demographics, same psychographics, same purchasing tendencies, same search-related queries, same location, lots of different ways that they can do it. But then you can reach people who are similar to the customers you already have. So what a great way to get in front of the right sets of eyeballs. Just a great little tool there. So, all right, so let's talk about how to set up and structure a campaign so that you can not spend a lot of money, but make a lot of money. I mean, who doesn't like that idea, right? That sounds great. So structuring your pay-per-click campaign. The very first and most important thing, and I'll say this several times, is conversion tracking is absolutely critical. So what you don't want to do is throw $500 at running ads and not know if they worked. There's a famous saying in the advertising industry that it's something like half of my advertising budget is working, I just don't know which half. So you don't want to be that person. And the great thing about online, whether it's SEO or pay-per-click, everything is trackable. So everything is trackable. So every ad group, down to did that person click? Did that person pick up the phone? Did that person fill out my form? You can see that entire journey. And the only way to do that is to have this conversion tracking in place so that you can use that. You can also use that data to go backwards and say, okay, this really worked really well. Here's 7 people that went through this. We know we made a positive ROI on this particular thing. Let's double the budget there. Or this one didn't work very well. Only 2 people filled out our form. We blew through a couple $100. It wasn't worth it. So having conversion tracking in place, absolutely critical. I talked about this earlier. but your campaign really needs to be broken into smaller ad groups, which is matched to services or products, so that when somebody types in shutters in Memphis, that they're seeing ads about shutters. They're not seeing generic window treatment ads. Those might work, but they're not going to be as specific. They're probably going to be a higher cost per lead, which just drives down your overall ROI. So breaking them into smaller ad groups that target very specific pieces is the best way to go. It takes longer to set all of this up, but better spend on your money overall. You also need to make sure that you have an understanding of keyword match types, and you don't forget about negative keywords. So we're going to cover both of those because it's very important that you understand how those work together as well. And then you need to write good ads. You need to write compelling text ads that resonate with what they typed in and get them to click on you. Not much different than SEO when you're writing page titles and descriptions. But having that resonate, and then when somebody sees that, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for, and they click on your ad. Now there's more to that. Once they click on the ad, it needs to make sense all the way through, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that as well. So couple other things you can do. Leverage ad extensions to make your ad kind of stand out a little bit more. I'll cover that. You have to land visitors on a solid, well thought out page that is built to convert. Talk about that. And then some ongoing split testing, tweaking, fine tuning. So what you don't want to do is write one ad for shutters and then dump everybody to that ad. You really want to write 6 ads and see which one works or which 2 work, turn the other 4 off, and then keep 2 of them, and then write more, and constantly be split testing and tweaking and fine tuning those to drive down that cost per lead the best you can. And that's really just an ongoing thing. It doesn't stop. So here we go. Don't even think about spending another penny on pay-per-click until you have conversion tracking in place. And that also speaks to SEO. When you're tracking anybody who's filling out a form, if you have analytics running on your site, all of these things, everything is trackable. So having that tracking in place is absolutely critical. I told you I was going to mention that before, right? So here are some essentials for conversion tracking. There's something called dynamic number swapping with different numbers for pay-per-click traffic versus organic versus direct traffic. So what you can do is you can actually go use a system kind of like Google has one built in, but there's also CallRail is a good example of a platform that lets you put a different number on your website depending on where that person came from. So if that person came from an organic SEO related thing, you show one phone number. If they came from a pay-per-click ad, you show a different phone number. And the reason for that is that way it's trackable. If they pick up the phone and dial the number that they see and they're a pay-per-click visitor, you can attribute that phone call back to a specific ad, which is incredible, right? I mean, that's great to have all that kind of data. So having that dynamic number swapping in place is great. Having a keyword pool in place so that that you can track it back to keywords and campaigns. So what can happen is you can have 5 visitors at the same time on your site, all from different pay-per-click ads. So they may all, or 2 of them may pick up the phone, but you don't know which 2 picked up the phone. So having a dynamic number, more than one, it might even be that you have a pool of 10 different numbers so that everybody's seeing a different number. And then as that customer goes away, that number becomes available again. So there are tools out there to make this happen that are not difficult. I should also mention that Google actually has built-in ads and call ads, specifically where they will show a phone number in the ad that says, hey, call us at 555-1234. And if somebody picks up the phone and calls that, but never clicks on your ad to go to your website, Google was doing the same thing. They were showing a custom phone number there, and they will attribute that back to that ad, and of course charge you as if the person clicked on the ad for that. But very cool that they could actually never even leave Google and pick up the phone and call you now. Web form tracking. So these are forms on your site. Typically it's a contact us form of some sort. Make sure that that is being tracked. Make sure that in your analytics that you have goals set up so that you can see how many people filled out the form in a specific amount of time. And you can go back and again, track those backwards through your website. Conversion tracking built into your AdWords campaign to determine which ad group generated the lead. We kind of already talked about that. So. All right, the most important KPIs. So we talked about how to kind of put the system together so that you're going to get the best results. Now let's talk about, okay, how do we see whether it worked or not, right? So KPIs are key performance indicators, which are the most important. So obviously, total spend. How much do we spend on this? The average cost per click. So you got to remember that not everybody that clicks on your ad is going to then become a customer, right? It might be 1 in 10, it might be 1 in 50, but you have to know, okay, if it's 1 in 50 and I'm spending $1 every time somebody clicks, that means $50 is what it's going to probably cost me to get a lead. That doesn't necessarily mean you closed it either. So understanding that cost per click, if it's 20 cents, you know, then you can probably spend a little bit more, get a little bit more traction with it. But if it's a couple bucks and in the window treatment, in the window treatment and awning business, it could be $2, $3, $5 per click. So that could get real expensive really quick if you're not really watching these numbers closely. Average cost per lead really is the big one here. You know, window treatment leads could be between 15 and 35 bucks. Awnings more, $35 to $70 per lead. So if you're really good at closing leads, then you know this probably a good number. $50 to close an awning lead, you're probably going to make more than $50 in profit off of that. So, but having these cost per lead numbers in place, understanding what they are, and being able to go back and look at those long term, very important. And then last thing, your return on investment, which obviously you want to know, but if you know your cost per lead and you know what it costs to do an awning or to put new Roman shades in a place, then you know what those numbers typically are ahead of time anyway. It's pretty important to have a dashboard. There are a lot of companies out there that can build these really cool dashboards that give you this information. Well, you had 233 phone calls, 237 phone calls. Here's what you spent. Here's what you made. Here's your average cost per lead. So there are dashboards out there. Google Ads has their own system as well, plus Google Analytics has one, but there are services out there specifically to build these kind of dashboards. What's even better is if you can track it all the way back to the exact way that that person came in. And this isn't always possible because sometimes you might, a real estate agent might sell a home and say, oh, you need to call these guys over at Memphis Blinds to get that done, or you need to go look at their website. So that might come in as an SEO related lead when really it was a referral. So tracking that stuff's a little bit tough, especially when it gets involved with multiple places, but you can still get a pretty good idea of which referral streams coming in are the ones that are actually making you the money. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about structuring your overall pay-per-click campaign. Mentioned this a couple times. Your campaign really must be broken into smaller ad groups so that you can really match up what they typed in with what they did. And there's different ways to go about this, whether it's a brand campaign, general window treatment related terms, awning related terms. So a brand campaign is you actually using your brand name and showing ads when somebody types in your brand name. Now, from an SEO standpoint, you should rank first for your own brand name, obviously, but having ads that are running for your brand name really just gives you another set of eyeballs or another opportunity for those eyeballs on that search result. So Other things, soft treatments, if you're doing those, hard treatments, reupholstery, cleaning and repair, all of these are potentially different ad groups that you could be running. And it's not a whole list. It's just a list of things that you could do. Depends on the business, obviously. And then when you get into AdWords, you could see inside your ad groups your different ads. So I mentioned this earlier, you need to be running multiple ads, and you can see this ad number 3, 0 clicks. So we turn that one off, right? Pause that one. These other two are doing pretty well. And it looks like this top one is outperforming the other one by quite a bit. 8% click-through rate versus a 4% click-through rate. The price on this one is 63 cents every time somebody clicks. This one is $1.10. So it may even be that we turn this one off and double down on this particular ad. So, watching those kind of things, very important, and time consuming to do so. It's not turn it on and leave it go, set it and forget it kind of thing. So let's talk about keyword types. There are a couple different keyword types. So first of all, there's broad match, and broad match means each of these keywords, if somebody types in any of these keywords, then we're going to show your ad. And that also means Dallas. So Dallas is one of the words on this list. So if somebody types in Dallas, it's possible that your ad could show up. So broad match, not a great one to go for, really. Modified broad match is a little different. This means, these words have to be in there. So Dallas and draperies has to be in the search, but it could be who did the draperies at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, right? So if you type that in, then these two words are in there. So your ad could show up for something, a search related to that. Next is phrase match. Phrase match means that this actual phrase has to show up in the search query. So it doesn't necessarily mean only Dallas awnings. It could mean who does Dallas awnings near Fort Worth. And that's probably a horrible example. But what I'm saying is it could have words on both sides, but it has to have this exact phrase somewhere in that search. So that's called phrase match. And then there's exact match. And exact match means we only want to show our ad when somebody only types in Dallas drapery or awnings in Dallas. If they use any words on either side or they're in a different order, don't show our ad. So there are advantages to all of these, but the second and mostly phrase and exact match are the best for most businesses. Broad match is more when you type in Nike shoes and you see an ad for Amazon or eBay, they're going after the broad match, right? They just want the traffic. No matter what you type in, you'll probably see an Amazon or an eBay related ad. Those are mostly broad match related searches. Great way to spend lots of money and not get great results. When you can start being very specific about what you're doing, you're onto something. So I also mentioned earlier negative keywords. I didn't put a big list of these, but there are ways to actually add negative keywords to your campaign. So that if somebody's typing in Dallas awnings jobs or Dallas awning careers, that's not a customer, right? That's somebody looking for a job or looking for an association or something like that. So you can add in negative keywords. Don't show my ad when these particular words are part of the person's query. That's definitely something that you can do. You can also go after misspelled words. So here's an example of a list of words that our ads were shown for this client. And we see here sun shinned draperies. That our ad was shown to that person because we were also putting in different misspellings. And this is something you really just got to build over time because, I mean, anybody can fat finger anything, right? And that could go on forever. So, but having some misspelled, obvious misspellings, especially if your business includes your name or something like that, and it's not a generic name, or it's a um, uh, geolocated a city that maybe is misspelled often, those kind of things, very important to go ahead and get those in there. And then competitor names. There is nothing that says you can't run ads on your competitors. And you can see here, Blind Ambition St. Louis, probably a competitor. So there's ads running for them in there, and opportunity for you to get that business. So definitely consider doing that. Of course, that would be a separate ad group that you would want to put a different budget towards. All right, compelling ads. Let's talk a little about how to create some compelling ads. So less is more. You don't want to go overboard and try to sell everything inside the ad. You just want to compel them to click on it, get to your website, get to your landing page so that you can really give them more information. Tell them in the ad what you want them to do. Click here for more information, or call us now at this number. You can do those kind of things. If you have a special offer for a service that they specifically looked for, and you reference that in your ad, that's even better. If you have a sale on shutters, and somebody types in shutters on sale, then you having an ad that says our shutters are on sale this month, that's a good fit, probably going to get a click. And then AdSent. AdSent is a very important piece of any pay-per-click campaign. I'm gonna get a drink. So AdSent is when somebody clicks, and I mentioned this early on about the homepage, right? When somebody reads an ad, they type something into Google, they see an ad that makes sense, and they click on that, and then they dump to a page that doesn't match the ad they just clicked, typically the home page, the scent in that person's mind has changed, right? Something doesn't smell right down the line here. I'm not sure I'm in the right place. I'm just going to hit the back button. You're charged for that click. So dumping them to the right place. AdSent in the Facebook world is a little different because there's a little bit of design related in your ad as well. And there is in Google ads as well. If you're doing graphic image related ads, the colors should match, everything should kind of match as they go through their journey. So they don't see an ad, they click it, and then they get to a page that just looks nothing like what they expected. Something doesn't match up. AdSent is a big piece of all of this. And then lastly, we talked about calls to action. Give them one decision, whether that's to pick up the phone, fill out a form. Don't make that one obvious. Don't make 3 different things obvious. Give them one very obvious next step. If you give them too many options, they're going to stray away. In some cases, landing pages are more like squeeze pages where they don't have any option. There's no navigation at the top of the page. There's nothing for them to do except fill out the form. That particular strategy doesn't work really well for window treatment companies and awning companies. You typically want them to have the ability to then go to your homepage, go to your about page, obviously go to your contact us page, giving them those other pages that they would like to go to as well is definitely important along the way. So let's talk about some great performing ads. These are 2 that I pulled out from Sunshine that are doing great. And they look good. They've got the 50 years in St. Louis on there. Celebrate 50 years with us, free in-home consultation, celebrate with big savings. They're great running, great looking ads. They are running, they give a next step, right? Set up a free in-home consultation appointment now. So they tell the person what that next step is. And these ads are running great. Here is how it looks like when you're actually editing an ad in the back end of of Google Ads system, right? And there's one really cool thing here is that you can see this little, I know it's small, but the little curly bracket keyword window treatments now, right? Find window treatments now. You can actually set up dynamic ads to match whatever the person typed in. So if I typed in window coverings, and I can actually set up an ad to say, okay, if they type in window coverings, then put that here. Find window coverings now. If it's not so generic, or sorry, if it's a little bit more generic, then you can tell it, just put the word window treatments in here. If you know, it doesn't match something they looked up exactly. But you can kind of play with how those ads, see over here, find window treatments now. So you can play with what words were typed in and how those same exact words show up in the ad. And talk about ad scent. Oh, this is what I typed in. This ad has exactly what I typed in. That's what I'm already thinking about. So that's what I'm going to click on, right? So having some of that dynamic stuff in there, very cool. And then putting in some different description. Again, set up a free in-home consultation now. Give them the next step. Very important. And then there's also something called extensions, ad extensions. And this is an opportunity for you to put in some other links to pages on your site. So, you know, if they're looking for something a little bit more generic, luxurious window treatments, maybe that's what I typed in, right? Then we don't necessarily know what they're looking for. So you can put a couple different sublinks, I guess you call it. We'll call it ad extensions. But you can put some links in here to a couple different pages that you think make the most sense. Somebody's typing that in. The other thing you can do is, here's the phone number we talked about. Somebody picks up the phone and calls that number, then you're going to get charged for a regular click or a lead. But having that number right there inside the ad, they don't even have to visit your website if they don't want to actually kind of engage with you. Here's a company in Colorado Space Solutions. Look at these ad extensions. Look at all the extra stuff compared to these other guys. They've got all kinds of stuff. They got the address in here for their map, when they're open, lots of information there. Some of this is SEO related. Some of this is ad extension related. But having this in place, it just makes you look better. It's more opportunity to click. So I got one opportunity there, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities to click for this ad, you know, which is huge. You know, just more opportunity, and that's what we're all about, having more opportunity to make some money. So these guys get a lot more real estate on a Google search page compared to some of their competitors. We talked about landing pages. One of the big things that we're doing with a lot of clients now is building these city pages, so that if somebody's typing in window treatments near me, Google's smart enough to know that that person is in Sunset Hills, and they might show this particular page as one of the results in SEO. And if you're running ads in that specific area, that you actually land them on this page. I mean, how much more targeted could it be than to land on a page of very similar or exactly what I just typed in? You know, the conversion rates are going to skyrocket for something like that. So, okay, I've been talking a lot, doing okay on time here. We are 44 minutes in, so we're right on track. So let's review really quick. Conversion tracking, absolutely a must. You need to break your campaign into smaller ad groups to make sure that you can see which are performing well, which are not. Understanding the match types. So we talked about broad match versus phrase match versus exact match. Don't forget about your negative keywords, so you're not spending money on ads thinking they're customers when they're really searching for a job, or they're just searching on how to DIY something. Write ads that resonate, make sense. Leverage these ad extensions to make your ad stand out, get more real estate. And then you have to land visitors on pages that are well thought out, that have calls to action, and they are built really to convert. So, and then lastly, of course, is having a dashboard in place so that you can see your results and know exactly what the heck you're doing. So lastly, hiring out pay-per-click. There's a lot of work, a lot of stuff goes into it. It's not something you can just throw up there. So, you know, some things to consider. How much of my budget is going to go towards AdWords spend versus how much is going to go towards me paying you to manage the system. What type of tracking you're going to have in place. You have the call and the web form conversion tracking in place. How are you going to tell the difference between those? How are we going to track our KPIs? Will I have access to a dashboard or something that I can log in and see these numbers? Or are we going to be going over them on a regular basis? That's very important. Are you going to set up specific landing pages for each ad group? Or is everybody just going to be dumped to the homepage? You know, there's a red flag for you right away. If you're driving traffic to landing pages, which is the only way you should be having a conversation with them. If they said homepage, they're out. If you're driving traffic to landing pages, how are those pages going to be optimized for conversion? So talk about calls to action in the right places, your dynamic phone number, those sort of things. And then do you split test your ads in each group? Will you be using the ad extensions? And then what are our KPIs? What are our terms when it comes to cost per lead, return on investment? How are we going to know if this thing is working is I guess a really great question to have, right? Okay, see if I have any questions in the chat. Don't see any questions over there. Gonna give out some free stuff here if you don't already have it. Then we're gonna do a little Q&A, but I don't have any questions coming in right now. So if you do have any questions, post those in the chat. I'll make sure to get to those. My book, I talked about my book. If you would like a free copy of the book, go to wtmarketingpros.com/book. There's a little form there, fill it out. Say, Will, please send me one, and I will stick one in the mail to you. I just got a new shipment of those in. Keywords, the most important keywords that you need both for pay-per-click and for SEO. If you don't have that list or not sure where to start, wtmarketingpros.com/keywords. I think we have top 81 keywords in there for the different industries. So make sure you get those. And then lastly, listen, this is a lot of work. If you are interested in a discovery call with us, I'd love to chat with you, just, you know, real quick, 15 minutes, and see what you're up to now, what you're expecting to do with your business over the coming year. If you're wanting to grow, if you're wanting to get into digital marketing, those sort of things. Really just a conversation, absolutely no sales call or anything like that. Just talk about your strategy and what you're wanting to do in the coming year. Give me a call. 314-334-1681, or go to the website. You can fill out a little calendar thing there and get on our schedule. So that's it. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on today. I definitely appreciate your time, and hopefully you learned something along the way. So take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.